Well, we are going to kick off the day today with an amazing panel talking about the intersection of fashion and sport, which is living and breathing here in New Orleans. So I will turn it over to TJ Adeshola, and he will call up an amazing panel. We're excited to have you all, so thanks for being here.
Good morning, y'all. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for coming out. We have an exciting discussion to witness. I'll introduce our guests. First, Miss Flau'jae Johnson. That's right. And then Emmanuel Morgan, the New York Times. Let's get it. Flau'jae, how you feeling? Friday morning, Super Bowl weekend. You got a lot of things going on.
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm excited. I'm excited for the big game. It's gonna be fun.
There you go. Emmanuel, talk to us. How you feeling?
Been there since Sunday, so yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to go home, and it's always fun to be here. So
let's jump into it. So we all know, Flau'jae, you're a force of nature. You are the true multi-hyphenate. You're a basketball player. You're a national champion. You're a rapper. You're a fashion icon, and you managed to navigate life really good. I'd love to get a sense of what a day in the life looks like and how you manage to navigate all the things that you have to juggle.
Man, it just depends, like, day in the life of like a normal day or like a Super Bowl weekday, because it kind of fluctuates. Like this week, like last night, I was just in Missouri. We had a game. We won. This morning, I woke up. Had to come from Baton Rouge to come here, get my makeup, hair done, do this panel. After this, I'm leaving to go back to practice. Got the weights and workouts, so that kind of sums it up. Yeah, a lot of moving pieces.
Now, Emmanuel, you're a leading voice at the New York Times on all things sports, culture, fashion. We've seen this convergence of the culture in sports. Sports is taking the main stage, and a lot of that is a function of people like Flau'jae Johnson really taking the mantle and disrupting in ways that we've never seen. So from your perspective, what have you seen that has kind of catalyzed this energy around sport, culture, fashion, and the intersection?
I think people just want to know the players behind the helmets and behind just like what they see on the court in the field. And so players want to kind of leverage that, and brands want to leverage that too. The NFL is being really big on like getting into fashion, hiring a new fashion director, having guys at Paris Fashion Week, New York Fashion Week. So yeah, I think it's going to keep like expanding and keep going more because people love sports. People love to engage with the players. Is there any way they can do that off the field too, off the court as well? I think it's going to like keep going going forward.
And then follow up from a storytelling perspective. Again, you got people like Flau'jae. Jello Ball might have the record of the year. Right?
He does.
Right?
Yeah, he does.
We swerving, we've been in the corners, all that. From your perspective, how has storytelling about these types of people been elevated?
Like people want to know these stories. Like people eat those stories up because they want to know about the players and their interests, the players and their talents outside of just sports. So. Yeah, there's like no shortage of work for me to do. Like I get so many pictures every day. There's like stuff for me to want to report about every day. So yeah, it's like having people want to read about players in music, players in fashion, players in documentaries. It's a really big kind of moment right now.
So Flau'jae, we talked about the duality that you exist in every day. The fascinating thing about you is you're versatile across the board. On the court, you can defend multiple positions. You scored all 3 levels. As a rapper, you can rap alongside Lil Wayne and take the SB stage and own it. And then from a fashion perspective, we see you with the pinstripes right now. You do what you do. I'd love to get a sense of it. And on one particular record, you said, I walk on campus with $1,000 clothes. You know what I mean? So did you say that or did you not say that? So on, she said that. So on a Tuesday, you're going to class. On a Friday, you're here at the Super Bowl. You're going right back. Yeah. Do you ever look at yourself in the mirror and say, yo, I really do this?
No, sometimes I look at myself in the mirror and be like, how do I do this? Like, for real. A lot of people, they ask me the same question you asked me, like, how do you do this? And, like, I really don't know. You just, like, make it happen. And I don't know. I feel like that's what makes me different. Like, that's what makes me unique. And that would kind of motivate me when I don't want to get up, when I don't want to do a million things. I'm just like, nobody in the world has the opportunity to do what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? At the high level that I'm doing. So I don't know. I just like, and I'm a competitor, so I want to be the best at everything. So that's just kind of how my mindset is when it comes to everything.
You talk about being a competitor and just the multiple interests that you have. How do you think your fashion reflects your personal style, your energy, your vibe? One,
Yes.
and two, do you actually feel pressure getting a fit off, or does it come off naturally?
No, I'm good with getting the fit on.
We know.
I know, but to answer the first, being competitive and just individuality, I think fashion is confidence. Like, I came here, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be the best dressed on this panel. And I didn't even know he was coming.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm glad you admitted that,
I'm
because I felt some way when I saw you.
No, but it's just like that confidence. Like, I think that just goes all across the board. Like, I want to be the best basketball player on the court. I want to be the best dressed, you know what I'm saying? But that's all within. Like, I think if you see somebody walking down the street and you're like, I wouldn't wear that, but she rocking that. Like, it's that type of thing. So I think the individuality is what's like, it goes between my music, my fashion, and my sports.
Emmanuel, one of the things that's fascinating is the importance of a platform like the New York Times is obviously massive in telling stories about these athletes and the culture. But if you tap into Flau'jae on TikTok, you're going to see the story that she's owned and told herself. And it's must-see TV, if I might say so myself. So I'd love to get a sense of how you feel the role of traditional media has evolved alongside folks like Flau'jae telling their own stories.
It definitely is like a changing kind of landscape. Like before, like athletes had to go to the media to get their story out. Now they can do it by themselves. So I guess for us, we kind of have to kind of leverage that too and kind of figure out, okay, if they're getting their stories out, let's tell stories about how they're getting their stories out. So I just did a story today about Shannon Sharp and his podcast and how we kind of went over from being a broadcaster to like an entertainer with podcasting. So it's kind of like changing like how you kind of tell your stories. But yeah, you got to keep your pulse on like what they're doing on TikTok, what they're doing on Instagram, because it is very important now.
So we're here in front of a bunch of brilliant marketers and top brands. I remember, Flau'jae, at Cannes, you were on a panel with TikTok. And by the end of the panel, I thought they were going to rename the app after you. Because they were so excited to hear you talk about the power of community, the power of telling your own stories, how TikTok and social in general has helped you connect with people. I think you know this, but not only are you a brand, but when you step in rooms with marketers, with brands, they value your opinion because you have such a unique and differentiated perspective. How do you approach building your brand and knowing that you speak as a brand?
Yeah, no, building my brand, I just feel like it's all about learning and just different perspectives. Like when I listen to him talk about leverage, like I'm really like, leverage, like that word, is just, and how to do it when it's so much opportunity now, right? How to be different when there's so many people doing the same thing. So I don't know, I think building your brand is all about learning. Once you know who you are, and once you know the value you bring, you kind of can understand how to manipulate that and make it bigger. And so that's what I'm always trying to do. I'm always trying to learn, especially about who I'm working with and how I want my brand to reflect their brand and I want their brand to reflect mine. So it's all about information. It's all about knowledge because things are constantly changing, especially in the landscape of like social media.
Shout out to the off-ball folks who are here, by the way, and it's important to know off-ball. Yeah, there you go. Oh, that's a round of applause. It's important to note off-ball because you mentioned the way we consume sport is changing. People don't care about just the box score. We know she's going to drop 20 on the box score. We know that. But what we do want to hear more about is what she's listening to, what fits she's getting off on her way to the game. So storytelling has become much more comprehensive. And to your point, we want to get deeper storytelling around these particular athletes. Can you elaborate on some areas that are getting attention now that may not have been when you started as a journalist?
It's like podcasting for sure is like getting a lot better now. Like everyone has one, so they want to like be able to talk about something that just them outside of just X and O's. Music, a lot of players are getting more into music, so why do they want to get into that? How are they like kind of using their kind of platform to kind of elevate their musical things like that? And then documentaries, like everyone wants a doc now. So how do you make yours different? How do you kind of use the access to for behind the scenes kind of tell a different story? So those kind of like the main things I'm kind of seeing.
What's crazy about each of those categories, you mentioned pods, she does that. You mentioned fashion, she does that. You mentioned music, she does that. I think about just this the responsibility that you must feel and the weight that you feel to own all of these particular platforms. Athletes as driving trends, like how do you approach that? Like do you kind of approach a business as organic, or do you say, like, from a podcast perspective, everybody has a podcast, how do I go about differentiating my particular podcast or my particular platform from other athletes or entertainers?
Yeah, no, it's like, it's organic, but it's like strategy for me. Because I always think about like scale, like bigger, bigger, bigger. I'm really like into business, so I'm always trying to understand how can I make things bigger. So I don't know. I just feel like I'm in a unique position where like my podcast would be different from any other athlete because like I don't want to toot my own horn or anything, but like
Toot it.
I just know how to talk, like, and I know how to be engaging. Like some athletes, you listen to them speak, and you're like, okay. So I don't know. I just feel like that just separates me, and it's just about finding your audience. And and it's crazy. I didn't know podcasts, like people, like you said, like they really like it. People would come to the games like, I didn't drop an episode for like 2 weeks. They're like, when we get another podcast episode? I'm like, oh, y'all really watch. So, I don't know. I just try to be organic as possible because that works for me. Like, I don't need to do too much because people just like to hear what I say. They think it's interesting.
I want to double down on that. You've had, the people that you play against are your homies too. I've seen Paige on the pod. I've seen you and Juju. Y'all kikiing, y'all laughing. But then when y'all play each other, y'all got to go at each other,
it's
right?
serious.
And y'all all are competitive. How do you navigate the friendship, coming together in AAU and all the things versus having to bust their ass?
I know, it was weird for me because in high school, my mom was like, I was a loner and I didn't want to make friends with them. I'm on my Kobe stuff, like I'm not friends with y'all, right? But this new NIL space kind of changed the game. And then just me getting older, like you can be friends and you can compete. And I don't know, when I'm with my team, any other team, I'm a natural born hater. So when I'm talking about it on my podcast, it's just hard for me to be like, oh yeah, UConn, they're super good and they're ranked above us. And you know what I'm saying? So I don't know, it's like just having fun with it though. But when you get in between those two lines, it's all business. But with this space that we're in, we are actually growing each other's fan bases. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think about it like music, like I'm with Paige, like this is a feature, right? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm with Juju, this is a feature on the song. So I don't know, I think it's just like we're building our brands, and so it's just good to have allies. I think it's strength in numbers for sure.
Talk to us about like the New York Times and just press in general. What types of stories are interesting for you all to tell?
Like outside the box stuff, because everyone's trying to like do something. So like, how are you trying to be different? So how is your podcast different? How is your music different? What about the way you're doing this documentary is different? Just stuff that kind of is like out the beaten path, really. That's really kind of like how you stand out. Because when someone's everyone's looking over here, I want to look over here and find something that's like unique and different from like what everyone else is doing.
We'll double down on that. One of the things that I'm so excited about is the way we talk about women's sports is changing. Haley Rosen at Just Women's Sports always says, women's sports is not a charity, it's good business.
Exactly.
And it's good sport too. And you're starting to see that change in how women's sports are covered. I think about Kristen Juszczyk and Emma Grede launching off season, and the gear is fly, right? Sabrina has I think outside of the Kobe's, the most worn shoe in basketball, right? Asia's rollout is crazy. How do you all approach covering women's sports, and what have you seen change?
I mean, last year I did not watch a single men's college basketball game. Like during the March, I was like watching all the women's tournament. So
It was up.
Nah, for real. Like the women's sports is like on the rise right now. So it's cool to kind of see how they're trying to build their stuff up. It's like something that's weird about the WNBA is like you have to kind of build up the ecosystem, like more podcasts, more people talking about it on TV, more people reading about it, because the NFL is 24/7. The WNBA is not there yet. So how do you kind of get them to kind of get up to the level of the consumption that every other sport has? So
from my seat, one, the sports fan is super engaged, but even this past few weeks with free agency, you're seeing all types of energy around trades, moves. Obviously, you have a relationship with Unrivaled. Athletes Unlimited is happening right now. So there's this intersection of sport, of music, of culture, and fashion, and it seems like a lot of the athletes sit at that intersection. You are going to be a professional very soon. You've been getting money though. But I'm wondering, why y'all laughing? It's true. I'm wondering how you feel about the responsibility even to continue to amplify women's sports, or do you even think about it that way?
Yes. Like telling you I'm a competitor, like I want to be like the marquee. Like I want to be the one that's like when WNBA goes up and crazy and girls in the future are getting $1 million deals and stuff, I wanted them to be like Flau'jae, like blaze that path. And like, because I know I can do it, just the stage of like music and basketball and what I do, I like to call myself an anomaly. And so bringing my story to the WNBA, I feel like it's going to just help people in the future. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, I had a great time in college. I trailblazed, was a top NIL earner, so many deals, this and that. And now I get to go on a bigger stage and do it. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I definitely feel like it's my responsibility, though, just for the little girls that come behind me. Like, I never in a million years thought, like, the WNBA would be like this from when I grew up. And now young girls have a whole different perspective on what can happen and what they can make a living off being a WNBA now. So I think it's definitely everybody's responsibility who's coming out of college to leave it better than we found it.
This is a bit of a random one, but as I hear you talk about being a competitor and wanting to win, the responsibility that you feel as a face of women's sports.
Yeah.
When you pick up the pen and pad and you write, because you do that too, what inspires you? Are you inspired from competition? Are you inspired from dating? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it that gets you to put pen to pad and really express yourself in a way that we all love to hear?
I'm not gonna lie. When I write, it comes from a place of irritation.
Oh, wow. Okay. Elaborate on that.
I don't know how to. It's because, like, you know, me being a basketball player, like, when you play basketball, you have to put some things in the back seat. Like, if I want to train 3 times a day, I'm not going to have to be in the studio for 8 hours, right? And so sometimes I hate when people be like, well, you just do music on the side. And then I kind of think, like, I do kind of do music on the side, but imagine if I did it full time, I would be busting y'all. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of use that as like every time that I put something out, it has to be top tier. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't get to do it as consistently as I want to. So it's kind of that, like, if I don't think it's top of the line, I won't put it out. And then the irritation is just like, I'm supposed to be there. And I'm like, I know it's not my time yet. You know, everybody has their time, but it's just like, ooh, I got to get there. So that's kind of, it's just that competitive, like that burn, like, yeah.
Similar along those lines, we're in a room full of marketers and just wonderful brand executives. When you think about collaboration, obviously brands want to work with you. What types of brands do you want to work with? Yo, y'all know this, but the business of Flau'jae is booming, y'all. It's booming. So you're in a unique position to be able to say, yeah, I want to work with you. That doesn't really fit my aesthetic. I would work with you. How do you approach that process?
No, literally like that. Just kind of where I am at the moment and what I'm trying to reach. It's like, I love fashion, you know what I'm saying? I love sports, I love things that go around that. So I'm in the business of just like things that'll like uplift others. I've been approached with a lot of deals, and some deals I just don't do because I don't think like, nah, this not really my look. Like, it won't benefit me, or I'm gonna have to act like something that I'm not in order to deliver how I want to. So, but sometimes I'm like, I gotta take this deal because this is gonna help me grow. This is gonna launch me into a space that I've never been into before, whether it's technology, whether it's, you know what I'm saying, things like that. So I'm not like too picky. Like, I rarely say no, like if it's something that's just off the wall. But it just has to be a fit. And then when I get on the meetings with the people, I like to see that they're as eager as their product, you know what I'm saying, with their product as like I am. Like, I love to see their energy, how invested is it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, even if it's a company that is not even big or something like that, but like if their energy is good, sometimes you know, like when things are aligned, they just align. So that's the main thing I look for. Like, how do they feel about their product?
Brands and athletes and really influencers, creators, that relationship has changed quite a bit. People are more prone to buy something at the consideration of purchase because they've seen her wear it or her advocate it versus a different route. So would love to get a sense of, from your perspective, what you're seeing as it relates to the shift of how athlete and influencers drive people at the point of purchase or just the influence?
Yeah. I mean, if you see advertisements on Instagram or TikTok or TV, like they're all with celebrities. So they want people to see people that they like wearing stuff that they're wearing, having the product that they have. So definitely with TikTok and Instagram, like kind of using celebrities kind of promote their stuff, it makes people like want to buy it more. So
What do you anticipate the future to look like of brand marketing, athlete, influencer, creator, particularly as you sit and report on those types of things?
no, I mean it's gonna keep like expanding as TikTok gets bigger, as Instagram and YouTube kind of like get more into partnerships with celebrities and athletes. It's gonna keep expanding. So yeah, it's the wild wild west right now, but it's gonna keep like getting like even like, more bigger.
So we're gonna hop into rapid fire really quick, but Flo, I wanna know, because there are days you do high fashion, there are days you do streetwear, there are days you do athleisure. If you were to launch a line or to collab with a brand, what would your bag be? What would the pocket be? I know it's a tough one.
Probably like comfort.
Okay.
Like I'm really really like comfort over everything.
Okay.
I'm always in the airports. So I like to be comfortable, like for sure.
Okay. All right, we're gonna hop into rapid fire so we can get our homie to practice. I'm gonna give y'all, so at off ball we have this thing called Take 5, so we're gonna drift off of that. I wanna know from a fashion perspective, what was a brand that you saw early on that made you say, I need that, I want that? We'll start with you, man.
Jordan. I grew up wearing Jordans when I was a kid, so definitely I wanted to like keep getting that.
And you're from North Carolina. So
Exactly. Yeah, go Heels.
Okay, what about you?
Yeah, I say the white Air Forces.
Ooh,
Yeah.
clean ones too.
When I was young, that was it.
Okay, so if I say I happen to gift y'all with $1 million and you could buy equity in one fashion brand, or you could have equity in one fashion brand, what brand would that be? And that doesn't exclude you from working with other brands in the future, FYI. Start with you.
I don't know. Everybody loves Lululemon, right?
Lulu's a good one. Lulu's a good one. What about you?
Probably do Chrome Hearts.
What brand are you watching out for this year across the board?
Good question. Probably Palm Angels and Off-White.
Okay, what about you?
It's just like up and coming brands called
Love that.
Bottega Desires.
Okay.
They've been doing a lot of fire stuff.
Okay, and have they tapped in with you? Have you tapped in with them?
Yeah, I tapped in, but they really expensive. So I'm like, y'all up and coming brand, but no, I really like what they're doing. So yeah, we tapped in.
What, from an influencer creator perspective, you are that. You see the landscape. You understand how to like forecast trends.
Yeah.
Are there specific influencers, creators on TikTok that you see doing a really good job that you're like, you know what? That kind of inspires me to think about things a bit differently.
Yeah, it's so many.
Yeah.
But it's this guy from Atlanta. His name is Quan.
Okay.
And he wears like a lot of the most outlandish stuff, but he's really built up his brand and his YouTube, and like his stuff sells out like in minutes. Like he has his whole fan base, and so I think he's really doing something dope down there.
Okay, what about you, Emmanuel?
I think Kai Cenat and iShowSpeed, I think those two kids are like blowing up
They're
right now.
everywhere,
So, yeah,
everywhere.
So it's crazy.
We'll stay with you. When you think about people who inspire, like from your seat, from a fashion perspective, are there particular people that you covered and said, you know what, they're changing the face of fashion or changing trends?
I mean, like back in the day, like Odell for sure was like really big on that. I think Joe Burrow now, Stephon Diggs, Tyrod Taylor. So yeah, there's a few.
Outside of yourself, across women and sports, who do you see really, really, really be putting it on? Like, who do you see you're like, oh, they consistently don't miss?
Put it on? Who puts it on?
That's how competitive
gotta
you
be
are.
in
You don't
the-
even see nobody else. You're like,
No,
I do
literally,
it.
they gotta be like in the WNBA.
No, across all sports.
Man, I'm gonna give the WNBA girlies some light. I see Cameron Brink. I really love what she wear. Angel, of course. Rakia Jackson. Yeah, some of them. Those three. They're top three for sure.
So we've we sat here and heard your perspective about branding, about being an athlete, about being a multi-hyphenate.
Yeah.
Again, I've seen you at Can Line. We've seen you on stage at the ESPYs. You have occupied the biggest stage, and your light shines brighter than the lights on the stage, which I think is so incredible and one of the many things that makes you special. If you could leave some of the brands and the marketers in this room with something to remember about you, whether it's something that you might work with them on in the future or just now, like as they think about, like, how do I partner with you? What would you say that takeaway would be?
I don't know. I just think I would say my values. I like to just, if somebody was to ask me, like, what's a quote do you think like could represent you? And I'm just like, how you do anything is how you do everything. And I'm just a person of integrity. So that's what I believe. I don't want to over promote myself, but that's a little bit of me. And I hope you kind of get that as we sat here and talked, for sure.
And from your perspective, if you're lead these brands with a tip, a trick to break through in a really cluttered space, especially when we talk about culture and the intersection between sport, music, fashion, what would that tip or leave behind be?
It's take chances, like think outside the box, because like everyone's trying to like be in this space. So yeah, like don't be afraid to kind of like think outside the box or like kind of expand what you're thinking. It's like you got to be different.
Okay. If y'all could, again, she just got back from a road trip this morning. She's here in front of us. She's sharing her thoughts. She got to go back to practice. Can we give a round of applause for the Flau'jae Johnson?
Thank you.
Thank you guys for joining us, and see y'all later.